Let me tell you something profound. Storms are not random. Storms have a purpose, and they carry a message. When we talk about storms in life, we're not just speaking about the rain, the thunder, or the chaos that comes with them. No, we're talking about the trials, the challenges, and the battles that people bring upon themselves through their choices, actions, and intentions. Listen to me carefully. Not every storm you face is meant for you. Some storms are born out of the very seeds others have sown. Seeds of pride, greed, manipulation, or deceit. The storm they created, they hoped would destroy you. They thought their schemes would break you. But here is the truth. The storm will destroy them, because it was never designed for you. You remember the story of the man who built his house on the sand and the man who built his house on the rock? Both faced the same storm, the same winds, and the same rains. But the one on the rock stood firm while the one on the sand crumbled. Why? Because the foundation matters. The foundation is everything. When people operate with a foundation of lies, selfishness, or evil intentions, their structure is weak. And their storm will return to them with greater force than they ever imagined. The storm they thought would consume you is part of their own undoing. Let me explain something about life. What you give is what you get. If you sow storms in the lives of others, you will reap hurricanes in your own. If you plot someone's downfall, you are digging a pit for yourself. This is not karma. This is a principle, a law woven into the fabric of the universe. Even scripture says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what you sows. Now, I want you to think about the eagle. The eagle is not afraid of storms because it uses the storm's winds to rise higher. While the storm rages below, the eagle soars above it. That is who you are. You were not made to drown in someone else's storm. You were made to rise above it. You were made to thrive in the very environment they thought would crush you. And let me tell you something even deeper. Their storm is a revelation. It reveals their heart, their character, and their intentions. When someone tries to bring a storm into your life, don't fight it. Don't retaliate. Don't waste your time trying to match their energy. Instead, stand firm, stay rooted, and let the storm reveal who they are while refining who you are. Storms expose, storms test, but storms also purify. And here's what I want you to understand. Storms don't destroy the righteous. They refine them. But for those who created the storm with malice, jealousy, or hatred, it becomes their undoing. It's like trying to set fire to someone else's house while standing too close. You end up burning yourself. That is the destiny of anyone who sows destruction. So, my message to you is this: don't fear the storm. Don't be anxious about the thunder or the lightning. You were built to withstand it. And when the winds have calmed and the rains have stopped, you will still be standing stronger than ever while their storm has swept them away. You are unshakable. You are unstoppable. The storm they sent against you is working for your good. Trust in the process. Trust in the principles of God. And know this: their storm will destroy them, but it will elevate you. Keep standing. Keep soaring. Keep believing. Your destiny is too great to be taken out by a storm. Let me make this clear to you today. Not every storm that comes your way is meant for you. You need to understand this truth, because too many of us are carrying battles that don't belong to us. We're wrestling with storms that were never designed to touch us. Some storms are born from the seeds that other people have planted. Seeds of jealousy, bitterness, manipulation, and pride. They crafted those storms with the hope that they would break you, silence you, and stop you from becoming who God has called you to be. But hear me, the storm they designed was never authorized to destroy you. It was built to destroy them. People will sometimes plot against you, not realizing that they are setting themselves up for failure. They think they're being clever, orchestrating confusion and chaos in your life. But here's the divine principle they overlooked. When a person digs a pit for someone else, they are the ones who will fall into it. That is not my opinion, that is truth. When they send storms your way, God has already commanded the winds to turn it back on them. You are under divine protection, and nothing formed against you will prosper. This is why you cannot live in fear when opposition arises. You don't need to panic when you feel the winds picking up. You don't need to lose sleep over the noise and the threats. Why? Because that storm was never for you. It was their own doing, and it will be their own undoing. You see, God has a way of taking what the enemy meant for evil and turning it around for your good. But for those who meant harm, that same situation becomes their downfall. Sometimes the greatest protection God gives you is allowing the storm to expose the very people who sent it. The chaos they designed becomes a mirror, reflecting their own darkness back at them. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. Just stand firm. Trust in the process. Watch how the storm they intended to harm you will consume them because they built it on the wrong foundation. I need you to grasp this today. Stop carrying weight that was never yours to carry. Stop worrying about storms that were never aimed at you. What God has built in you is too strong, too rooted, too grounded to be moved by the reckless winds of others. Their storm cannot touch what God has ordained. Their weapons will form, but they will not prosper. Let them stir the winds. Let them speak the words. Let them plot and plan. It will only circle back to them. Stand in peace. Stand in confidence. The storm will not destroy you because it was never yours to endure. Their storm will destroy them. Let me speak this truth into your life today. Your foundation determines your survival. The strength of what you build your life upon will decide whether you stand or fall when the storms come. You see, storms don't discriminate. They come for everyone. The righteous and the unrighteous, the wise and the foolish. But the difference is in the foundation. The question is, what are you standing on? Jesus told a powerful parable about two men. One built his house on the rock, and the other built his house on the sand. Both houses looked fine when the skies were clear, but when the storm came, the difference was exposed. The winds blew, the rain fell, and the floods came. The house on the rock stood firm, but the house on the sand collapsed with a mighty crash. Why? Because it had no foundation. So, in cold weather, sand and gone. It wasn't the storm that was the problem, it was the foundation. People who plot and scheme against others are building their lives on sand. They construct their success on lies, manipulation, and pride. It looks strong on the outside, but is hollow on the inside. And when the storms of life come, storms of accountability, storms of consequence, storms of truth, their entire structure falls apart. The very storm they thought would destroy you will expose how weak and fragile their foundation truly is. But you, my friend, must build on the rock. What is the rock? It's truth, it's integrity, it's purpose. It's aligning your life with God's principles and his divine purpose for you. When your life is rooted in these things, no storm can move you. The winds may howl and the waves may crash, but you will not be shaken. The enemy may try to attack, but you will remain standing because your foundation is unshakable. This is why you must never envy people who seem to be rising through dishonest means. It may look like they're winning, but their success is sitting on sand. It's temporary. The higher they build on that weak foundation, the harder they will fall. The storm will come and it will reveal the truth. What's built on the rock endures. What's built on sand crumbles. So I urge you today, check your foundation. Make sure your life is built on principles that last. Build on discipline, on honesty, on faith, and on purpose. Don't be moved by the noise around you. Don't be swayed by people who cut corners to get ahead. They are racing toward their own destruction because the storm they created will destroy them. And let me tell you something even deeper. Sometimes God allows storms to test foundations. The storm isn't always sent to destroy, but to reveal what's been hidden. That's why when the storm comes, it doesn't break you. It proves you. It proves that your character is strong. It proves that your faith is real. It proves that your destiny is secure in something greater than circumstances. But for those who build on pride, deceit, and manipulation, the storm will be their downfall. I never heard it. Stay anchored, stay grounded, build wisely. Because while their storm will destroy them, you will still be standing, stronger than ever. Let me tell you something powerful today. Life operates on divine principles that cannot be broken. One of the greatest of these is the principle of sowing and reaping. What you sow, you will surely reap. This is not just a nice saying. It is a universal law set in motion by God himself. You cannot plant seeds of destruction and expect to harvest peace. You cannot sow deceit and expect to reap trust. You cannot spread negativity and expect positivity to return to you. The storm they created is the harvest of the seeds they planted, and it will destroy them. Many people walk through life thinking they can escape this principle. They believe they can manipulate, lie, gossip, and sabotage others without consequence. They think that because the results aren't immediate, they've escaped judgment. But hear me, God is not mocked. The harvest may take time, but it always comes. Every thought, every word, every action is a seed planted in the soil of life. And in due season, the harvest will show up. The problem is that some people have planted storms in other people's lives, hoping to disrupt their peace and progress. They whispered lies behind closed doors. They smiled in your face while plotting your downfall. They tried to block opportunities that God had opened for you. But here is the truth they ignored. The storm they planted will grow in their own field. The seeds of chaos they scattered will take root in their own lives. They thought they were burying you, but they were planting destruction for themselves. This is why you must not be shaken when people come against you. You don't have to retaliate. You don't have to lower yourself to their level. You don't have to fight every battle. Why? Because the principle of sowing and reaping is already at work. God has already set the law in motion. Your job is to keep sowing good seeds. Seeds of love, seeds of purpose, seeds of integrity. You will reap a harvest of favor, of strength, and of victory. Look at Joseph in the Bible. His brothers sowed seeds of jealousy and betrayal by throwing him into a pit and selling him into slavery. They thought they were ending his dreams. But the very path they forced him down led him to the palace. Their storm didn't destroy him, it elevated him. But the guilt, the shame, and the consequences of their actions weighed on them for years. They reaped exactly what they sowed. The same principle applies today. People may think they're getting away with mistreating you, but they're not. They are setting themselves up for their own storm. You see, when you sow storms, you reap hurricanes. When you sow dishonesty, you reap distrust. When you sow division, you reap isolation. The storm they thought would consume you is already circling back to them. So stand firm. Don't let their actions pull you out of character. Keep your hands clean. Keep your heart pure. Let God handle what they have sown. The harvest is coming, and their own storm will destroy them. And while they're battling the consequences of their actions, you will be walking in peace, in strength, and in divine favor, because you chose to sow righteousness. Never forget this law. What you sow, you will surely reap. And their storm is on its way. Let me speak into your spirit today. You were never designed to fear the storm. You were designed to rise above it. Just like the eagle, you were created to soar higher when the winds begin to blow. Do you know how the eagle responds to a storm? It doesn't run, it doesn't hide, it doesn't flap its wings in panic. No, the eagle waits for the storm to come. And when the winds begin to roar, it spreads its wings wide and lets the very force of the storm lift it higher above the cloud. While other birds seek shelter, the eagle uses the storm as an elevator to rise. This is exactly how God has designed you. The storms that were sent to destroy you are the very storms that will elevate you. What others meant for your harm, God will use for your promotion. The enemy thought the pressure would break you, but it's building you. The betrayal was supposed to crush you, but it's positioning you. The rejection they threw at you was meant to weaken you, but it's strengthening your wings. You need to understand this truth. Storms are not sent to bury you. They are sent to reveal your capacity to rise. Every wind of adversity is an opportunity to go higher. Every wave of criticism is fuel for your next level. But here's the difference between you and those who sent the storm your way. They are flapping in panic, but you are soaring in purpose. They are scrambling to control the chaos, but you are gliding above it, untouched and unbothered. You must recognize that the storm is a tool in God's hands. It's not your enemy, it's your vehicle. The very thing that was supposed to stop you is actually accelerating you. That's why you can't waste time worrying about who's against you or what they're saying about you. Let them talk. Let them plot. Let them stir up the winds. Because while they are stuck in the turbulence, God is lifting you above it. The eagle doesn't fight the storm, it masters it. Likewise, you don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to engage every critic. Your elevation is not tied to their approval. It's tied to your purpose. And when you stay aligned with God's plan, the very storm they created will become the wind beneath your wing. But here's the tragedy for them. The storm that was meant to lift you will destroy them. Why? Because they weren't built to handle the forces they unleash. They stirred up something they couldn't control. They forgot that when you dig a pit for someone else, you might just fall into it yourself. They sent winds your way, but those winds are returning to blow their house down because their foundation was weak. So I say to you, spread your wings, rise above the noise, don't fear the storm, use it, master it, let it carry you higher. Because while they are struggling in the storm they created, you will be soaring into your destiny. Their storm will destroy them, but it will elevate you. Let me share a truth with you that will change the way you see the storms in your life. Storms reveal character. Storms expose the foundation of a person's heart. When everything is calm and the skies are clear, anyone can pretend to be kind, loyal, and righteous. But when the winds begin to howl and the pressure rises, the true nature of a person is uncovered. Storms don't just shake circumstances, they strip away masks. You see, the people who tried to create storms in your life didn't realize that they were exposing themselves. The very moment they stirred up confusion, spread lies, and plotted against you, they revealed their true character. They thought they were hiding behind smiles and sweet words. But the storm uncovered their jealousy, their insecurity, and their bitterness. What they meant to use against you has become a mirror reflecting their own flaws. And what they meant to use against you has become a mirror reflecting their own flaws. God allows storms not to break you, but to expose what has been hidden. The storm wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal who is truly for you and who is against you. Some people are only loyal when the sun is shining. They stand beside you when everything is going well. But the moment adversity arises, their hearts are revealed. They distance themselves. They talk behind your back. They plot quietly, thinking you won't notice. But storms reveal them. Storms unmask them. The storm also reveals something about you. It exposes the strength you didn't know you had. It shows you that you can withstand more than you thought possible. It reveals your resilience, your endurance, and your unwavering faith. While others are crumbling under pressure, you are standing firm, not because the storm is lighter for you, but because your foundation is stronger. Let me tell you something powerful. The same storm that exposes their weakness will reveal your strength. The same pressure that brings out their hatred will draw out your purpose. God uses storms to separate the genuine from the counterfeit, the committed from the convenient. The storm is your proving ground. So when you see people turning against you, don't be discouraged. When you hear them speaking ill of you, don't lose heart. Understand that the storm is doing its job. It's revealing hearts. It's exposing motives. And most importantly, it's protecting you from people who cannot go where God is taking you. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself. The storm is already exposing the truth. But here's the warning for them. The storm they stirred up will become their undoing. Because while it was exposing you to the truth, it was also uncovering their own weakness. The storm is showing them and everyone else that their foundation was built on pride, deceit, and insecurity. And what's built on a faulty foundation cannot stand. Stand firm in the storm. Let it do its work. Let it separate what needs to be removed from your life. And remember this, the storm is not your enemy, it is your revealer. It exposes what needs to be seen and it destroys what was never meant to last. Their storm will not destroy you, it will destroy them. You must understand this powerful truth today. You don't need to retaliate and you don't need to fight back when people rise against you. When they attack you with words, when they scheme behind your back, when they try to tear down what God is building in your life, the worst thing you can do is lower yourself to their level. That's exactly what they want, to pull you into their storm, to drag you into their chaos. But listen to me carefully. Storms are not won by reacting. They are conquered by standing still in purpose. One of the greatest signs of strength is restraint. It's easy to react when someone disrespects you. It's easy to clap back, to defend yourself, to try and prove your worth. But that is not your assignment. Your energy is too valuable to be spent on small battles. You were not created to fight in every arena where your name is mentioned. You were created to walk in purpose, to rise in destiny, and to stand firmly on God's promises. The enemy knows that if he can distract you, he can delay you. That's why the storm is loud. That's why the attacks are personal. But you must be wiser than that. Do you remember when Jesus stood before Pilate, being accused and mocked? He said nothing. He didn't defend himself. He didn't explain himself. Why? Because Jesus understood that destiny does not require explanation. Purpose doesn't need approval. He knew that God was in control and that no false accusation could stop his assignment. That same principle applies to you. You don't need to answer every critic. You don't need to react to every attack. God is your defender. And his justice is perfect. When people try to stir up storms in your life, let them. When they spread lies, let them talk. When they scheme, let them plot. Because here's the truth. They are building their own destruction. The energy they use to harm you will be the same energy that tears down their own house. The pit they dig for you will become their own grave. The storm they sent will circle back and consume them. But you must remain still. You must remain focused. This is why the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. Being still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means standing in confidence, standing in authority, knowing that God is handling what you cannot. It means staying rooted in your purpose while God deals with the storm. You don't have to lift a finger to fight. Your strength is in your stillness. Your power is in your peace. Don't let anyone pull you off course. Don't allow bitterness to take root in your heart. Don't waste your purpose by reacting to temporary noise. Let them do what they will, because God is already working behind the scenes. He's already turning the storm back on them. And while they're busy trying to destroy you, they won't even realize that they're setting themselves up for a fall. Stay calm. Stay focused. Stay grounded. Let me speak this truth into your heart today. God is always in control. No matter how fierce the storm looks, no matter how loud the winds roar, no matter how dark the skies become, nothing happens without God's permission. And if God allowed the storm, he has already prepared a way for you to overcome it. The enemy may think he's winning, but he doesn't understand that God is still on the throne, orchestrating every detail for his glory and your victory. People who plot against you believe they have power. They think their schemes, their manipulation, and their lies can stop what God has ordained. But what they fail to realize is that God's plans cannot be stopped by human hands. His word says in Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Did you hear that? The weapon may form, the storm may rise, but it will not prosper. It cannot succeed because it's no match for the God you serve. The same God who parted the Red Sea for Moses is the God who will make a way for you. The same God who shut the mouths of lions for Daniel is the God who will silence every voice rising against you. The same God who raised Joseph from the pit to the palace is the God who will turn your adversity into your advancement. God specializes in taking what was meant to harm you and using it to elevate you. Now, let me tell you something powerful. Sometimes God allows a storm not to punish you, but to position you. What looks like an attack is actually a setup for your next level. Think about Job. The enemy unleashed a storm of loss and suffering on his life, but God had the final say. The storm didn't break Job. It prepared him for a double portion blessing. God restored everything he lost and gave him more than he ever had. The same will happen for you. But here's a warning for those who created a storm. The very storm they sent will turn on them. Because God will allow their own schemes to collapse, like Haman in the book of Esther, who built gallows to destroy Mordecai. They are setting up their own downfall. Haman's plot backfired, and he was hung on the very gallows he built for someone else. That's what happens when people try to fight God's plan. So you must stand in confidence, knowing that God is not absent in your storm. He is present. He is watching. He is working. The battle is not yours. It belongs to the Lord. Let them plot. Let them conspire. Let them stir up the winds. But God will use their own storm to dismantle their plans. You stay faithful. You stay obedient. You stay focused. Because while they are exhausting themselves fighting against you, God is preparing to elevate you. And when the dust settles, you will still be standing. And they will be defeated by the very storm they created. God is your defender, your protector, and your vindicator. The storm they send will not touch you. It will destroy them. There's a profound truth that you need to grasp today. God's purpose for your life cannot be derailed by the storms that others create. Their attempts to destroy you will ultimately lead to their own destruction, because God's plan for you is unshakable. When God has a purpose for your life, no one can stop it. They may try to distract you, discourage you, or derail you with their storms, but all they're doing is fulfilling a role in God's greater plan. They are unwittingly positioning you for victory, even as they try to bring you down. Think about Joseph again. His brothers meant to destroy his dreams by throwing him into a pit and selling him into slavery. They thought they had finished him off. But God used their betrayal to position him exactly where he needed to be to save a nation. What they intended for harm became a divine setup for his elevation. When they thought they were breaking him, God was using them to build him. This is the same principle that applies to you today. The storm they sent is not a sign that God has forgotten you. It is a sign that God is getting ready to promote you. You see, God doesn't need a smooth, trouble-free road to get you to your destiny. In fact, many times he will allow storms to come because those storms strip away everything that is not in alignment with your divine purpose. It's like when gold is purified in the fire, it has to go through the heat to come out shining. The storm is not there to burn you, it's there to purify you. You need to understand that God allows storms to reveal the depth of your character, your resilience, and your trust in him. What the enemy meant to weaken you will become the very thing that strengthens you. And while they are struggling with the very storm they created for you, you will be rising above it. But here's what happens for those who try to harm you. They might think they are in control, that they can direct the winds and waves to drown you. But the problem is they are playing a dangerous game. They are sowing seeds of discord, betrayal, and destruction. And every seed they sow will grow into a harvest of their own undoing. They don't realize that the storm they unleashed is like a boomerang. It's coming back to them. They are setting themselves up for a fall. Don't let me remind you of this truth. God does not take pleasure in the destruction of the wicked, but he is a just God. He sees the plot. He sees the heart, and he will not let the wicked go unpunished. The storm they created will expose them. It will show the world who they really are. It will reveal their character, their motives, and their intentions. And when the storm finishes, they will be the ones left standing in the rubble of their own creation. But you, oh, you will be standing tall, unshaken, unscathed, because your foundation is built on something stronger than the storm. It is built on purpose. It is built on God's promises. And when the dust settles, your destiny will still be intact, and their plot to destroy you will have destroyed them instead. So don't fear the storm. Don't fear what people say or what they do. God is in control. And while they may think they are in charge of your downfall, God is using their actions to bring about your rise. Their storm will destroy them, but it will only make you stronger. Keep your eyes on your purpose. Keep your faith in your God, and watch as he turns their storm into a stepping stone for your greatness. I want you to hear this very clearly today. God's timing is perfect. While others may think that their storm is taking you off course, God is orchestrating every detail of your life with divine precision. They may have planned for your downfall. They may have tried to create chaos in your life. But what they don't understand is that God's timing cannot be thwarted. Everything they intended for evil will only push you closer to the manifestation of your destiny. God doesn't operate on human timelines. He is the creator of time itself. And he knows exactly when to intervene and when to let the storm pass. While they are frantic in their schemes, trying to hasten your destruction, God is quietly working behind the scenes, preparing your way of escape. He's not caught off guard by the storm they sent your way. He knew it was coming. And because he's in control, he's already ahead of them. The storm they created for you is not a setback. It's a divine setup. God is allowing the storm to come not because he wants to punish you, but because he is aligning you with the perfect timing for your breakthrough. There are some things that you can't learn in the calm, peaceful days. There are some levels of faith that you can't access unless the storm forces you to lean entirely on God. And there are some blessings that you can't receive until the storm clears away everything that wasn't meant for you. I've learned that God often uses storms to position us for things we could never have imagined on our own. When Joseph was sold into slavery, his circumstances seemed hopeless. It looked like his brothers had won, like his dream was over. But God was working behind the scenes. And in God's timing, Joseph was elevated to a place of prominence where he could save his entire family. What the enemy meant for harm became the very thing that positioned Joseph for greatness. You may feel the weight of the storm right now. You may feel like the winds are pushing you in every direction, and you wonder if you'll ever make it to the other side. But understand this. What they've done to you, the storm they created, will only serve to push you into your purpose. God is in control of the timing. You don't have to rush. You don't have to force things. Everything is happening according to his plan. And when the storm passes, you'll be standing on the other side, stronger, wiser, and positioned exactly where you need to be. While they try to accelerate your demise, God is accelerating your preparation. While they think they are shortening your future, God is extending your possibilities. The storm they sent has no power to hold you back. It will only accelerate the process of transformation in your life. And when the storm is over, when the dust settles, you will look back and see that it was not the storm that destroyed you. It was the storm that positioned you for what's next. Jesus Christ. Remember, God's timing is perfect. He knows when to allow the storm to come and when to bring you out of it. You will not be destroyed by their storm. Understand this truth. Your destiny is tied to something greater than the temporary storms of life. The very attacks that people are launching against you are signs that you are on the right path. They would not be trying so hard to stop you if you were not destined for something extraordinary. The storm they are sending your way is only a confirmation that your purpose is something worth attacking. But what they don't realize is that they are not only attacking you, they are attacking the plan of God for your life. And when they rise up against that plan, they are setting themselves up for failure. Okay? The truth is the enemy does not fight people who are not a threat. He does not waste his time on people who have no purpose, no impact. If you are being attacked, it is because you are a threat to the enemy's kingdom. You are a vessel of God's power, a carrier of his purpose. And the enemy knows that if you fulfill your destiny, it will disrupt everything he's trying to build. That's why he's stirring up storms around you, because he knows you are on the verge of something great. And so the Lord Jesus ended his words, but let me remind you, what the enemy does not know is that those storms will never win. What people fail to understand is that storms reveal your strength. They expose the depth of your resilience and the power of God that's on the inside of you. You were never meant to break under pressure. You were designed to bend but not break, to endure but not be destroyed. The storm is revealing the might of God within you. It's showing you just how much strength you have, how much resolve, and how much faith. And what the enemy doesn't see is that every attack is making you stronger. Every storm is preparing you for what's next. Every battle is positioning you for a blessing that no one can take from you. There's something else you need to know. People who try to bring you down with their storms often do not have the full picture. They think they can control the situation, manipulate outcomes, and destroy you. But they don't understand that they are playing a game they cannot win. They are not fighting against you alone. They are fighting against the very will of God. And God's will cannot fail. It will never be defeated. So when they try to destroy you, they are actually setting themselves up for a fall. The storm they unleash will not drown you. It will drown them. The storm will destroy them because they are working from a place of deceit, jealousy, and pride. They are fighting with the wrong weapons. They're fighting with gossip, lies, and manipulation. But these weapons are not mighty enough to stand against the power of God. The storm they create will be their undoing because their foundation is weak. Their efforts are based on human wisdom. But God's wisdom is higher, his strength is greater, and his justice is perfect. He will turn their own schemes against them, causing them to fall into the trap they set for you. In the end, the storm will not break you. It will only reveal your strength, your purpose, and your position in God's plan. They may think they can destroy you, but all they're doing is pushing you closer to your breakthrough. You are not here by accident. You were born with a purpose. And nothing, no storm, no attack, no weapon formed against you can change that. While they fight against you, you keep your eyes on God, stand firm. You keep moving forward, knowing that their storm will destroy them, but it will only serve to elevate you. The enemy is fighting a losing battle. They cannot stop what God has already set in motion. Their storm will destroy them, but you, child of God, will rise above it. Stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to fulfill your divine purpose.